What if death wasn't an escape, but a trap? What if in your final moments you found yourself not in heaven, not in hell, but somewhere in between? A place where something waits, something ancient, something hungry? Are you ready to face the unknown? Meet Sajid Malik, a man who died, but never truly left. Sajid Malik had never feared death. At 38, he was a pragmatic man, grounded in reality. As a paramedic in London, he had seen death up close. Victims of accidents, heart attacks, violence. To him, death was final. No heaven, no hell, just the end. Until the night he died. It happened on an ordinary shift, a late-night emergency call, car crash on the outskirts of the city. Sajid and his partner rushed to the scene, sirens wailing, rain hammering against the windshield. When they arrived, the wreckage was worse than expected. A mangled sedan, a driver trapped inside, gasoline leaking onto the pavement. Sajid barely had time to react before it happened. A second car, unseen in the downpour, skidded out of control. Headlights filled his vision, a metallic screech, a flash of agony, then nothing. For a moment, there was only silence. Then Sajid opened his eyes. He was no longer in the street, no wreckage, no rain. Instead, he stood in an empty hospital corridor, dimly lit by flickering fluorescent lights. The air smelled sterile but off, like something old and rotting beneath the surface. The walls stretched endlessly in both directions, the tiles beneath his feet warped and cracked. "Hello?" His voice echoed, swallowed by the silence. No answer. He looked down at himself. No wounds, no pain. He was still in his uniform, still wearing his ID badge. This must be a dream, he told himself. Then he saw the doors. Lining both sides of the corridor, identical hospital doors stood slightly ajar, the darkness beyond them thick, suffocating, and something was moving behind them. A whisper, a shuffle of feet, a presence. His heartbeat quickened. The hallway stretched on forever, but at the far end a single figure stood beneath a flickering light. Tall, still, dressed in a doctor's coat. But something was wrong. The head was tilted too far to the side, unnatural, like the neck had snapped. Sajid couldn't see the face, just the empty black void where it should have been. Then it spoke, or rather, it whispered. "You're not supposed to be here." A chill ran through Sajid's bones. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice hoarse. The figure took a step forward, then another. Sajid stepped back, but the walls seemed to close in. The doors rattled as if something inside was trying to get out. "You're in between," the figure whispered, voice like a dying breath, "and it knows you're here." A sharp noise behind him, a door slamming open. Sajid turned just in time to see something crawl out. It wasn't human. Its limbs were too long. Its body was twisted, contorted, moving on all fours like a broken puppet. Skin stretched over bones, thin and pale, its face hidden in the shadows. But Sajid could hear it breathing, ragged, hungry, waiting. And then it smiled. A slow, unnatural grin splitting across its face, revealing teeth. Too many teeth. Sajid ran. He sprinted down the endless corridor, his breath ragged, his pulse pounding in his ears. The figure at the end didn't move, only watching as Sajid barreled past, heart hammering. The hallway twisted, warped, the lights flickering faster, casting shadows that stretched and clawed toward him. And behind him, the sound of something running. Fast, too fast. The creature was closing in, its nails scraping against the floor, its breath right at his neck. A door appeared ahead, red, different, the only one fully open. No time to think. Sajid lunged for it, crashing through, slamming it shut behind him. Darkness swallowed everything. Silence. Then whispers. Soft at first, then growing, surrounding him. "You don't belong here. It won't let you go. It's watching." A light flickered above. Sajid turned, his breath caught in his throat. He was no longer in the hospital. He was in his own home, his living room, his furniture, his photos on the wall. Everything exactly as it should be. Except something was off. The air was too still, the shadows too deep. And then he saw it. The reflection in the darkened window. A figure standing behind him, watching, smiling. Its head tilted, too far. And then it whispered in his own voice, "Wake up." Sajid's eyes snapped open. Bright lights, hospital monitors beeping, a doctor standing over him. "You're lucky," the doctor said. You were gone for 2 minutes, no pulse, we almost lost you. Sajid gasped, sucking in air. His wife was at his side, crying, clutching his hand. He was alive. He had survived. But as he looked around the room, his breath caught in his throat, because in the dark reflection of the monitor, something was still watching, and it was still smiling. Final question. Was it just a near-death experience? A trick of the mind? Or had Sajid truly seen what lies beyond? Many report visions of light, of peace. But some see the darkness waiting in between. And sometimes, it follows them back. This blends suspense, horror, and the supernatural, keeping the mystery of the afterlife but adding a terrifying twist.